What's going on, guys? PlotArmorCards in the house, and today I am here with some new fairy support. Now, I know I'm a little bit late on this one. These were actually, this report was actually released on March 10th, but for some reason I did not see it until now. So let's go ahead and take a look at these cards. So first, my first impression is based on this art and this art right here. I would say, just based on the art, this is going to be a popular archetype just because of how adorable looking they are.
Boopy, 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 boopy.
Oh my god, you little angel.
So let's go ahead and take a look at the first card. So this card is going to be called Vernalizer, Fairy of Hills and Blooms. It's a level 4 Earth Fairy effect monster with 200 attack and 2000 defense. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. You can discard this card and one other monster or one Vernalizer Fairy card. You cannot activate monster effects for the rest of this turn except Earth monsters. Also, add one Vernalizer Fairy card from your deck to your hand except Vernalizer Fairy Hills and Blooms. Then you can special summon one Earth monster from your graveyard. Okay, so basically you just discard this and then whatever Vernalizer or Earth monster you want to send, and then you can special summon that one immediately, and then you can add one to your hand. Not bad. Secondly is Vernalizer Fairy monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. Not bad at all. So this thing's effect will honestly depend on the other monsters in this archetype. So if they all have dope sent to the graveyard effects or revived from the graveyard effects, this deck could be really, really good. But I would definitely, based on this, I could see this being run at 3. So next we're looking at Vernalizer, Fairy of Force and Awakening, a level 2 Earth Fairy effect monster with 900 attack and 1800 defense. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn. You can discard this card or one other monster or Vernalizer Fairy card. You cannot activate effects for the rest of this turn except Earth monsters. So the thing with this archetype is, when I heard new fairy support, I was thinking, hey, maybe this will work with the agent cards, but it's not going to work because it's only going to work with Earth monsters. So you're going to have to be a little bit careful with this. Also send from your deck to the graveyard one Earth monster that can be normal summon set. Then you can special summon one Earth monster with a different name from your graveyard. Okay, so this one specifically deals with different name. And secondly, you can target one Vernalizer Fairy monster you control, double its attack until the end of this turn. So this secondary effect, I probably will never use this, let's be honest, probably once in a blue moon. But the first effect is really, really, really good because you can send one directly from your deck. This is a foolish burial, essentially, for this archetype. Next, we got Vernalizer Fairy of Flowers and Fields. It's a level 3 Earth Fairy effect monster with 600 attack and 1600 defense. Its effect is you can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. You can discard this card and one other monster or Vernalizer Fairy card. You cannot activate monster effects for the rest of this turn except Earth monsters. Also, add one Earth monster from your graveyard to your hand except Vernalizer Fairy, Flowers, and Fields. Then you can special summon one Earth monster from your graveyard. So this is pretty decent as well. It works as a monster reincarnation. Essentially, you can add monster to your hand, and then if that's a Vernalizer monster, you should be able to pop off its effect as well. So it's a good way to recycle your monsters. And its second effect is your opponent cannot target Vernalizer Fairy monsters you control with card effects, which is pretty decent. But something like this on the field, it's not that strong. So you'd probably want to use the first 3 cards that we've looked at in the hand. So next we're looking at this card, Vernalizer Fairy of Mountains and Melting Snow. It's a Earth Fairy, just like the rest, level 3, 1100 attack and 0 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. You can discard this card and one other monster or Vernalizer Fairy card. You cannot activate monster effects for this turn except Earth monsters. Also, draw one card, then you can special summon one Earth monster from your graveyard. Not bad. Not bad at all. The ability to draw one card is very good. But then again, you have to discard 2, but then you special summon an Earth monster from your graveyard. So that's not too bad. I guess technically then you're still even. So the second effect is you can target one Vernalizer Fairy monster you control. It can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. So far, I can see the next card is a spell card, but so far I really like these monsters. This is a very interesting archetype, unique archetype. The fact that you are only limited to Earth monsters, though, I would definitely recommend, if you're looking into this archetype for the future, probably might want to pick up Barrier Statue of the Drought, because it is super cheap right now. It might get more expensive later. Next, we're looking at the spell cards. Boy, I can't wait to look at the extra deck cards for this. But this card is called Flower Crown of the Vernalizer Fairy. It's a continuous spell card. Its effect 1 is Earth monsters you control are also treated as Vernalizer Fairy monsters. I'm sure that's going to be helpful with this deck, this archetype in general. Once per turn, if a Vernalizer Fairy monster in your hand would discard itself and one other card to activate its effect, you can discard only itself instead. Hey, that's not pretty bad. That's not too bad either. That's pretty good. Because I'm seeing right now, I haven't seen anything that actually has like a good graveyard effect. So like if it's sent to the graveyard, if it would pop off something or other. I'm sure there's earth monsters that you can make work with that. So let's go ahead and look at what we got next. Next we got Calendar Rotation of Vernalizer Fairy. It's a normal trap card, so it's searchable with Trap Trick. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. One, you can target Vernalizer. You can target one Vernalizer Fairy monster in your graveyard, either add it to your hand or special summon it. Not bad, but that's a trap card, so it's not as quick as you'd want it to be. So this first effect, Monster Reborn, is definitely better than that. And secondly, during your opponent's turn, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, if you have no cards in your hand, you can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon as many Vernalizer Fairy monsters with different names as possible from the graveyard, but return them to the hand during the end phase. This second effect is actually pretty good. This is really good. So, but the first effect is, I don't know if you even want it on the field for that long. So you can target one Vernalizer Fairy on your opponent's turn since it is a trap card in order to special summon it. So in that sense, maybe Monster Reborn would be better. But for this, maybe you want to Foolish Burial Goods it into the graveyard. I know it doesn't work the same turn it was sent to the graveyard, but you'd have to set it up regardless, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. Vernalizer Fairy and Flower Buzz. It's a normal trap card, again, searchable with Trap Trick. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. One, target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of earth monsters you control with different names that were special summoned from the graveyard. Return to the hand an earth monster you control for each target, and if you do, return the targeted cards to the hand. That's not too bad, but I think this could be improved if it wasn't. I don't know how else to do this besides targeting, but it is targeted removal technically, and then the monsters have to be specifically summoned from the graveyard. It doesn't work with this archetype pretty well, but I think if they were being able just general special summon monsters, then that could work pretty well. Overall, that's it. So I do like where they're going with this archetype. I think this is pretty decent, but I don't see an extra deck monster or anything as of yet. Maybe I haven't, because this was announced on the 10th. Maybe extra deck monsters were announced a little bit later, and I just haven't seen them. But from what I've seen so far, the main deck monsters are pretty decent. The traps, hit and miss. I think this trap card is a little bit too slow. It's the first effect, again, Monster Reborn's better. The second effect is you can't accept the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, so you'd have to Foolish Burial Goods it, or just set it and hope it gets destroyed, and then you'd have to wait another turn just to use its effect. But other than that, I think this archetype is pretty decent. I'm going to wait out for extra deck monsters before I can make any decisions on this, but I like the fact that they're giving Earth monsters, or just Earth in general, new support. Anyways, guys, this is PlotArmorCards. I hope you like my review of the new Vernalizer cards that are coming out in the OCG soon. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. And oh my goodness, look at the time.
It's time to do